Again, welcome to the CCET Virtual Orientation. The Climate Change Expenditure Tagging CCET Help Desk is going to provide an overview of the CCET and planning process for identifying climate change PAPs, including the use of CCET Quality Assurance and Review Form, the BP201F, or Form 77 as prescribed under the DBM National Budget Memorandum number 133, series of 2019, and Corporate Budget Memorandum number 42, series of 2019. For this module, we will discuss the CCET overview, its basis, mobilization and timeline, the tagging process, and the CCET QAR form. Now let's go to the basis of CCET. Considering the country's vulnerability to the impacts of climate change, it was imperative for the government to support and prioritize climate actions. In 2013, the CCC, in partnership with the DBM, with the help of the World Bank, the government started studying the national budget and identified the need to mainstream climate change in the budgeting and investment programming. Building on the results of the 2013 Climate Public Expenditure and Institutional Review, or CPIR, and the ongoing public finance management, a climate budget framework was developed and implemented to sustain the government of the Philippines' climate reform initiatives. In the same year, the DBM and the CCC issued the Joint Memorandum Circular 2013-01 on the guidelines in tagging, tracking government expenditures for climate change in the budget process. In 2015, the JMC was amended to enhance the process and institutionalize the functions of the help desk. The JMC reinforced the government's transformative climate reforms, especially on mainstreaming climate change in its national budgeting process. Timeline of the CCET development. As stated in the previous slide, the CCC and DBM issued the JMC 2013-01 on the guidelines of CCET. In 2014, the DBM issued a circular calling agencies to tag climate change expenditures in the NEP and GAA. In 2015, the JMC was revised to enhance the process and institutionalize the functions of the help desk. In 2016, the QAR of climate change expenditure was developed and further enhanced and was made with the typologies to align to the DBM's initiative on the outcome-based budgeting as well as the RBMES of the NCCAP. In 2017, the climate change expenditures were reported in the DBM's budget expenditure and sources of financing. In 2018, the CCET figures were integrated and uploaded in this sub-portal of the Climate Change Commission's website. And in 2019, the DBM strengthened the CCET process through the issuance of NBM, or National Budget Memorandum, that mandates agencies to secure CCC approval of their respective CCET QAR forms. The tagging process. The effectiveness of climate response requires integration of climate change issues across the planning and budgeting cycles, from developing policies to identifying and designing programs to funding and implementing the programs and monitoring and reporting progress. For the past years of implementing the climate budgeting, we have integrated it into the stages of the national budget cycle. First, in the budget preparation, the budget call and technical budget hearings, budget legislation, and budget accountability. Now, let's identify if the program is a climate change expenditure. By looking on the PAP, the agency should check if the main or one of the main objectives explicitly articulate climate change adaptation or mitigation. If yes, tag the entire PAP budget as climate change expenditure? If no, are there any projects, activities, or parts of the PAP that directly address climate change? If yes, tag the proportion of the expenditure that is climate responsive. If no, do not tag that PAP. Now let's go to the CCET Typology Code Manual and its code structure. The first one means the climate change binary. A for adaptation, M and M for mitigation. The second one is the NCCAP strategic priorities, namely food security, water sufficiency, ecosystem and environmental stability, human security, climate smart industries, sustainable energy, knowledge and capacity development, and including the cross-cutting priorities. The third one is the sub-priority under each strategic priority. These are the outcomes identified in each NCCAP strategic priority. The next one is the instruments wherein the PAP will be classified. The last one is the CCET activity. Under the CCET Typology Code Manual, there are 4 instruments: policy and governance, research and development, knowledge and capacity building and training, and action delivery. Now, here's the sample set of typologies under the food security strategic priority. Here is the BP201F form located in the National Budget Memorandum for NGAs. While here is the Form 711 located in the Corporate Budget Memorandum for GOCCs. Let's go now to the CCET Quality Assurance and Review Form. Pursuant to the latest National Budget Memorandum, all agencies shall secure the CCC's approval of their respective QAR forms and will be submitted as an annex to the BP201F in Form 711. Now, the help desk will show you a quick demo on how to fill up the CCET QAR form. First, indicate under this column the program, activity, project in the same level of detail as required in the BP201F. Indicate under this column the climate change typology that correspond to the activity being undertaken by the PAP. See the National Climate Budget Tagging Typology Code Manual for reference. The main objective entails the overall target the PAP aims to achieve, while the climate change objectives are undertakings aimed towards achieving climate resilience in terms of adaptation or mitigation. In the event that the PAP's main objective corresponds fully to climate change, it is important to note that the amount shall be tagged entirely as climate change responsive in the BP201F or DBM Form 711. However, in cases wherein the PAPs only contain specific components that is considered climate change responsive, only the budget allocation for that component shall be tagged. Please note, agencies who do not have any PAPs that can be tagged as either climate change adaptation or mitigation can take no climate change expenditure in their respective BP Form 21F or DBM Form 711 in the DBM's online submission of budget proposals portal. Next, in the discourse of addressing the impacts of climate change, it has been identified that rising temperature, variability of precipitation, frequency and intensity of typhoons, sea level rise, and the risk of more droughts, floods, heat waves, and forest and grassland fires are some of the pressing issues that need immediate action. In this column, indicate the climate change risk that the PAP aims to address. For column 6, indicate climate information and source. For example, like scientific articles, IPCC reports, CCC's data, PAG-ASA's projections, MGB maps, or agencies' commission studies on climate change. The climate change expenditure tagging is just a means to an end. It is a tool to assess the status of the country's national response to climate change and on evaluating the effectiveness of the country's institutional framework on climate change. With the government identifying its climate change expenditures, it will now allow, first, informed policy decisions among oversight agencies by generating timely statistics on the allocation of resources and by providing a baseline to evaluate the climate change impact on public expenditures. Next, with the climate change typologies aligned with the NCCAP, the process of tagging will promote coherence across sector policies and programs by fostering links between the budget and climate change policies. And when we start tracking of expenditures, it will facilitate the country's readiness for accessing, administering, and coordinating flows of domestic and international climate finance. Since 2015, the Help Desk support government instrumentalities on CCET concerns. We are here to build government instrumentalities capacity and readiness to undertake CCET. Evaluate agency proposal of climate change components against the existing typology and duly accomplished QAR form. Review and approve new typology proposal of the agencies consistent with the UACS code. And together with the DBM, prepare climate budget briefs and reports based on the result of the CCET process. For easy and accessible online references on CCET, you may click on the www.nicbis.ph. It contains the relevant resources on CCET toolkits, manuals, and QAR forms, as well as the JMCs for national and local CCET. Furthermore, the CCC will be launching a special page in the NICBIS for this orientation within the week. Thank you and have a good day ahead.